Well, good Wednesday morning to everybody. I'm going to get right into this. We're doing Romans 14, 15, 16. And for me, this is probably one of the most important um, sections of Paul's writings. And there's a lot of stuff there, a lot of stuff on grace. And I mean, there's tons of fantastic stuff. But this section here where Paul addresses something that needs to be addressed in the church, because I feel this is probably one of our greatest failings, because one of the greatest needs we have in the church right now is encouragers, those who can encourage people to go to the end in this marathon that we're involved in. And chapter 14, Paul starts off with telling the church to extend a hand of welcome to every believer, even to embrace them even in their immaturity. And that's such an important word right there, to embrace them even in their immaturity. And then the opening of the next chapter, the next section, chapter 15, Paul again says that it's easy to mark, it's easy to notice, it's easy to pick out the mature, because those are the ones who embrace the immature. They're the ones who embrace the immature. Now, I want you to consider for a moment that this is a big struggle we have in the church. We have a problem of moving people from immaturity into maturity. And Paul, throughout this, gives us all kinds of marks of the immaturity. It's those who don't understand the importance of unity. They can be a cause of division. They love to debate their opinions. There's all kinds of things that they concentrate on rules instead of relationships. And these are all the things that can destroy. But Paul is saying that what is needed is the mature who can come alongside and embrace people in the immaturity, not push them away because at times they can be ugly, not push them away because at times they can be tiresome, not push them away because at times they can just be draining, but to embrace them, to walk alongside them, to help them, to encourage them to go on, to mature. And this means sometimes putting a limit on our liberty. It means saying no to ourselves when it comes to things that we know that we can freely do. Paul here uses examples of food, knowing that we can eat everything, but the immature, because they're still at that stage of law, they're growing into grace, but they're in that place of law. They will put limits on what you can eat and what you can drink. And and Paul says that because of that, the mature will put limits on themselves, not to offend, and not to cause others to sin. And there is the thing in the church where there are sections of the church who have chosen not to partake in alcohol. They've taken pledges and such, and other places it's just frowned upon. And those who have taken a pledge for a reason to the Lord, we celebrate that. And Paul says to celebrate that, embrace that, celebrate that. But we know that we have the liberty that if we want to take part in alcohol, we can. Never to take anything to excess, because that is sin. But there's a lot of people who do that with food, don't they? Anything that takes mastery over you, anything that takes dominance, anything you become addicted to is sin, including food. So we have this freedom, but man, one of the most potent things that I remember is when I was pastoring in Belgium. My son was over visiting some friends, and he was having a meal with them, and the father took out a bottle of wine. And I guess the look on my son's face was such that the father asked him, does your father have wine with supper? And when my son said no, the man immediately put it away. Wow. Now, it was no big deal for me that he would have a glass of wine with his meal in front of my son. That's for me. I didn't consider. I wouldn't have considered that a sin whatsoever. But he didn't take any chances. And for me, that's a mark of maturity there. And we in the church, we need these encouragers. We need these people who are mature, who are willing to sacrifice their own personal liberties, to walk with the immature, so that they can help the immature break into this place of grace, break into this place of maturity. It's a different type of discipleship that is needed, and it's sorely missing in the church. And what we end up with then is we end up with immature leaders, because you have to have leaders. And so we have leaders who haven't been disciplined or discipled, sorry, by the mature, and they come into leadership and they put shackles on people according to their own limitations. And so we have the immature leading the immature, and the immature preventing the immature from entering into maturity. And it's just a terrible place, and we see what a mess it can lead to. So, yeah, I just want to encourage all of you. Be encouragers. Be those who are mature, who are willing to give up whatever you need to give up. Reread these passages again and understand the importance of this place. We need the mature people to rise up into leadership, who are willing to sacrifice for the immature, to help them grow and to come into maturity. So you guys be blessed today, okay? Be encouraged, draw into the Lord, and I pray that you'll have even more revelatory knowledge and live in that thing. God bless.